Hello everyone, welcome to the session. Today we are actually going to learn about string. String is one of the data type in Python. So why we are actually going to explore more functionalities of string, or we can say like the methods of string. How do we traverse the string? Because in day-to-day life, you'll be dealing with the strings only. Let's say, for example, you are reading a configuration file and you want to verify if the configuration is correct or not. Let's say the configuration format is, let's say server name, then user ID, then we have passphrase, then we do have, let's say for example, the file system path or the directory. Then we do have like another word file name, word file dot, let's say word. Okay, so this is a configuration entry. Let's say we want to actually validate it. Now let's say the configuration entry here is actually separated by colon. And if you look at this example of the configuration, we do have like 5 values. The first value is server, second value is user ID, third value is first page, fourth value is directory, and fifth value is actually word file. And if this file contains like more than, let's say I'm assuming like the colon is not present in the first page, then in that case what is going to happen, like it should contain only 4 uh, like colon. Let's say you are expecting the user ID should be small case, and someone mentioned like it is in capital case. How do you convert small case to capital case? Let's say you are expecting the word file name should be in this format, and it should contain the file name dot word. It should not contain, let's say something like this, my app dot dev dot try dot word. This is invalid type. We are expecting it should be like my app dot word. How do we validate it? So using string functions, we can actually do all the validations as per our requirement. Okay, so now whenever we are actually dealing with the string operations, basically we should understand what are the operations are actually allowed on the string, what are the operators we can actually use, how do we like define the string or initialize the string, and what kind of operations we can actually perform on a string, what are the methods, the default methods available for string operations, and all these things I'm going to tell you. So the first operation we are going to tell, I'm just going to tell you about like a concatenation, that is plus, and then we do have operator asterisk mark, and this is also known as repetition operator or replication operator. And definitely we are going to use membership operator. The membership operator is allowed in strings, and the membership operators are actually in or not in. And then we can use indexing, the indexing of any string. Let's say my message is hello world, uh, message equals to hello world. If I do print message of 0, because index starts with 0, it is going to print like hello, sorry, going to print h. If I'm going to give like message of -1, it is going to print d. D is the last index, so this is known as negative index. Okay, so now similarly, anything you can actually get it like from this particular string. Let's say you want the second character, third character, fourth character, and all. You can definitely specify it using the index. But using index, we can get only one character of a particular string. But if your requirement is to get portion of the string or a certain substring or like a certain set of characters, let's say you want like starting the position 0, and you are actually looking for a particular range of characters, and we can actually use a operator known as slicing operator. Okay, so this is known as slicing operator, slice operation or operator. Okay, and in slice the syntax is start, then we can specify stuff, or we can say like call it as end, then we can call it a step. Remember, in the previous session, I talked about like now range. In the range, we can specify start, stop, and end. And here in the slice operator, we can actually do specify start, end, and step. But the difference here is we are specifying using a colon, but in case of range, it was like a comma operator over there, like comma separator over there. Then we can do all type of comparisons. Let's say you want to actually validate if the strings are same, you can use double equals to. If you want to actually verify strings are actually not same, you can use like a not equal. And if you want to actually verify in Python 2, the not equal also, you can actually use like this less than and greater than is same as like not equal. But in Python 3.x or the most recent version of Python is 3.10, we do have like a not equals to operator, that is exclamation and equal to symbol. And we can actually specify the ASCII comparisons. If you want to actually do the ASCII comparison, you can also do that using less than, greater than, less than equals to, greater than equals to. All these operations are actually possible. All these operations are actually possible in string. Let us get started with our first example, and then we'll learn about like these operators first. Operators I have already covered in the previous session, and quickly we can actually go through it, and so that you can actually able to recollect these operators. Okay, so now the first one here, the example I'm just going to write, that's a basic string operation, new Python file, basic string operation. In the basic string operation, we are going to explore like this. Let's say I'm just giving like str1 equals to giving hello, and str2 equals to world. str2 equals to world. Now, if I want to do print str1, I can directly specify str1, and then if I want to print str2, I can specify str2 like this. If I want to print both the strings in the same line, I can definitely specify str1 and comma str2. If you want to concatenate, it is print str1 plus str2. The difference here will be like it is going to print hello space world, and but here it is the concatenation, so it will be hello world, no space in between. Okay, so far whatever we have written, let us execute and see the result. So now here you can see str2, it's not actually str2, str2, there is a typo. So now here we go. So now here you can see the first one is hello world with a space, because we have given the comma separator here, and then there is a plus operator. This is known as concatenation. And similarly, if you want to actually replicate, let's say I want to print world 3 times, I can specify 3 star, then str2. Or you want to actually print hello 3 times or hello 2 times, I can specify print str1 2 times. str1 I can specify 2 times. Here it is print. Now if I'm executing this, you can actually see the result here. Like it is world 3 times and hello 2 times. Hello 2 times should be, it should be like now a operator, repetition operator, or replication operator here, repetition operator or replication operator here. So it is actually going to print hello 2 times. Now this is concatenation operator, and this is repetition operator, and in this case it's just a separator. Let me tell about like membership operator. Let's say I'm just print H E in string 1, print HE in string 2, str2. In this case, what it is going to print, it is going to print a boolean value. Boolean values are actually true or false, and T is capital. The first letter of the Boolean value is always capital. That is true, T is capital, false, F is capital. Now here you can see HA is present in str1, that is in hello, it is going to print true. Here in the second print, HA in str2, it is not present, so it is going to give us false. So this is known as the membership operator in the string. So we are actually familiar with concatenation, repetition, membership, and then membership also we can actually use in and not in. Let's say, for example, if I'm giving like HE in string 2, it is giving me false. If I'm giving HE not in string 2, because HE doesn't present here like in the world. So now in this case, it is actually going to print as true. So this is also known as a membership operator. If you want to specify, let's say for example, something similar to this, str1 string 1 equals to hello. Now I can specify hello here. It is going to print as true. It is going to print as true. Now, if you want to actually specify like str1 not equals to hello, because str1 the value is actually hello. If you want to specify like not equals to hello, then in this case, what is going to happen? It is going to print as false. So this type of operators we can actually use in case of a string. And the most interesting one I'm just going to tell you is slicing operator and index, like how to use index and how to use slice. So now let me write a program, another program that is string operation, and we are going to learn about like how to use index and slice. Let's say string, index, and then slice. And slice is an interesting concept. We do have slicing concept in most of the programming languages. Okay, so here in Python, how it is implemented, I'm just going to tell you that. Let's say I'm just giving message equals to world is open source. Open source. Okay. Now I want the first character. I can specify message of message of message of 0, that is W, and if I want message of 1, print message of 1, I can specify message of 1, let's say message of 1 followed by message of 3 followed by message of 10, message of 10, and followed by message of -1. So what it is going to do is, it is going to give us the index 1 value, that is 0, index 3 value, that is actually L over here. Similarly, like index 10 value, and the -1 is the last index, that is nothing but E. So if I'm running this program, here you can see the output is like a W, then OLPE. OLPE is the result of this particular line. Let's say, for example, we want the first 5 characters of this particular string. We can definitely use a slice operator, and the slice operator, we need to specify from where to start, how many characters you want. Let's say, for example, I want 5 characters starting from like index 0. Now here you can see it is actually giving us like now, let's for example world here, right? World is actually 5 characters, and from where it is starting 0. Now if you give, let's say for example, something similar to this, and you're telling like from 1, just give me 4 characters, it is like going to print URLD. Let's say, let us try this out. Let us try this out. Here you can see, sorry, okay, that is interesting, quite interesting. Just look at here. So now here it is 0 to 5 characters. So what it was doing, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It was actually printing. Okay. So now when we are actually telling like start from 1, end with like that is start and end. Okay, not how many characters. That is start and end, and then step. So now end means we are actually telling here like end at 5. Now here we are telling end at 4. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Whenever you are actually giving 4, it is actually giving us like ORL, because it is actually ending at that particular position. Similarly, when we are actually telling like end at 5, it is like ending at actually the 6th position over here. let's say to understand it better, I'm just giving like now this one, let's say my message 2 equals to A B C D E F G H I. Okay, and here I'm just giving, you want the first four characters, then here it should be message to dot, not dot, actually I did not cover any of methods over here. So now here we can actually say like how many characters, let's say from where to start, 0 you are starting, and where it is going to end. Let's say if you are, if your requirement is actually getting first four characters, the end should be 5 because it is 0, 1, 2, 3. The end should be actually 4. Okay. So now if you give like no 4 here, here you can see A, B, C, D. Okay. So ideally it is the ideally the first index, that is start, then where to end. Like if you look at here, E is actually 4 because A is 0, E is 4, but when we are giving 4, this position is actually not included in our output. Okay, so it will be giving 0 to 3. Now, if I'm giving, let's say some, for example, the negative index, message of -1, then in this case, what it is going to do is message 2 of -1, message 2 of -1, it is going to give us as I. So now if I'm running this program, and here you can notice this is actually going to give us as I. Let's say you want message with like GHI, that is -1, -2, and -3. So now in this case, let us see like what is going to happen if I'm giving like -1, then I'm just giving here like -4, for example. Okay, let us look at here like what will be the output. Definitely we need to actually specify, definitely we need to specify the step, because by default the step value is 1. So if you want like in the reverse order, it is like the step value is -1, then -1 followed by the step value is -1, then the next value will become -2, then -2 -1 is becoming -3. If you are not specifying any step, the default step or default step value here is 1, so you are not going to get any output. But if you are actually specifying here like -1, in this case first value will be like -1, the next value is -1 is that's -2, -3, and -4 will not be included, so the output will be GHI and GH and I. So now here you can see I, G and H, because we are starting the reverse order, I, H and G. Okay, so now -1, -2, -3. If your requirement is okay, you want actually in this order. Okay, let's say starting from -4, end at -1, and then no need to specify any step. Then in this case, what is going to happen? You can actually see F, G, and H, because -1 is actually not included. Okay. So now, if your requirement is you want G, H, and I using the negative index, G, H, and I using the negative index. So G, H, and I, it is actually starting with -3. Let's say here you can see I'm just specifying -3, and if I'm giving -1 here, guys, it is interesting. If I'm giving -1 here, it is going to give me -1, -2, -3. It is going to give me GH. Okay, it's going to give me GH. Now, if I'm running this program, here you can see it is giving GH. But our requirement is actually GH and I. Then how do I get it? Don't specify anything, just give -3. So if you're giving -3, it is actually starting -3 till the end. Okay. So now here you can see it is, sorry, -3. I need to specify that colon, one moment. Some error, no, GHI. Okay, so this is actually GHI. If you are giving -3, these are the like interesting facts about the slicing operator. So -3 is going to give us G. Okay, so now if I want the reverse order of the string, let's say name is Subbu, name equals to Subbu, and I want the name in the reverse order. what I can do is I can specify name, then we can do a slicing operator. Don't specify anything, put a -1. If you're not specifying anything, what it is going to do is it's minus and the reverse order. Let us see like now what is going to happen here. Now, the moment I'm just giving like colon colon -1, it is actually giving the reverse order of the string. So that is like now U, then BB, US. Like if you guys are actually familiar with like palindrome, for example, let's say some palindromic number, we can actually say like pal string, pal is here. I'm just giving here like some hard-coded value A, B, B, A. So this is a palindrome. So now how do we validate whether it is a palindrome? I can directly give like if file is here, okay, equals to file is here, then directly I can use a slice operator colon colon -1. If file is here equal to the reverse of file is here, I mean in this case ABBA, and then the reverse is also ABBA. So now we can actually say here like print palindrome, palindrome, okay. Don't know what is the spelling, so that's fine. So elif, so or we can directly give else over here, and then print. Here I can specify like condition not satisfied. Okay, so now look at here. So now look at here like now how we can actually use the slicing operator in the comparison itself. Now here you can see it is a palindrome, and if it is not going to match like now for example ABBA and the reverse is not going to match, then in this case it is not a palindrome. Palindrome. So now these are the cases like now how you can actually use the slicing operator. Let's say for example another example I can give it here. Let's say you are having a config, okay. In that config, I'm just giving config here and then some value I can actually pick it from here. Let's say server1 colon, and I do have let's say user 2, then I do have a passphrase as actual sample. Okay, so now what we have is like now all of our servers are actually 6 characters. Let's say for example 7 characters here, right? So 3, 3, 6, then 7. Let's say your requirement is getting the user ID. There are better ways we can actually do it. We can actually split it and get it. But as of now, we do not actually cover any splitting and we are not familiar with any string functions. My requirement is from this configuration. I want the character number 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay, how do I get it? So now here I can say like print config of 9 to 13, right? I can specify 9 to 14. Then in this case, you can actually get the configuration. Okay, so it should be like 8, not 9. So 8 to 14. Now 8 to 13. Right, so if I'm giving this, then here you can see like a user 2. So ideally will not be like now doing the count by character. Sometimes if you want to actually correlate this, and familiar with like Linux or Unix like operating systems, we do have a command over there like cut. And if you want like character cut, you are giving like cut hyphen C. If you want like cut by a delimiter, we are using cut hyphen D. Okay, and in this case, the slicing operator is actually more than enough, and no need to recollect like what is cut hyphen C, what is cut hyphen D, what is cut hyphen F, and all these things. You can actually do it using slicing and splitting. So there are two functions, and slicing is the operator, but like split is a function or method. So I'm just going to remove this out. So these are like the use cases of string operations. The next step is how do we traverse the string? Let me tell you how do we traverse the string. Let me write a program over here. String traversal. Now Python file, and I'm just giving like no string traversal. So there are various ways we can actually traverse the string. Let's say my message here is hello world, hello world, and my requirement is I want to traverse the string one character at a time. One character at a time. So how do I do it? So to do that, definitely we need a loop. So for character in, I can say like message. We have already gone through it in the for loop section, and I'm just telling string. So let us get familiar again. Yeah, you will able to recollect what are things we have covered in the previous session as well. So now for ch in message, here I can do print ch. If I do this, then what is going to happen? It is going to print one character per line. So the output will be H followed by E followed by L, then again L, then followed by O, and everything will be in the separate lines. Now here you can see the result. Like now we are getting hello world. Now if I want to print it using a separate line separator. Let's say for example I'm just giving double hyphen over here. Now here you can see Control Shift and F10. Here you can see it is actually printing hello world. Okay, so this is the separator. Now this is how we can actually traverse the string using for loop. Let's say I want to traverse using the index. So this is actually just traverse the string using the using the loop. Okay, and if you want to traverse using the index, let's say traverse using index. In that case, what we can do, we can definitely like I'm just keynote, I'm just checking length alien method we are actually using to get the length, okay. So I'm just documenting it here. You can refer it at a later point of time. So now here, if I'm actually executing for I in range of what? Range of length of message. For I in range of length of message, because range takes one argument, we can specify a single argument, or we can specify three values. That is start, end, and then we can definitely specify start range and then followed by step. Okay, so now here what we can do, let's say for I in range of length of message, I can actually print here print message of message of I. In this case, message of I, it is also going to print let's say hello world, it is going to print HELLO, then world in different lines, unless you are actually specifying the end. Let us having specify end here, and to differentiate, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to use a comma operator here, or or a less than operator here, not operator character or separator you can say. Now when I'm running this program, definitely as the end is different, and then if you want to differentiate the output, then you can actually have a blank print statement over here that is going to print a new line, so that we can differentiate between the two for loop outputs over here. Now if I'm running this program, here you can see the first one is actually printing hello world, the second one is actually printing hello world like this. So this is how you can actually deal with the positive index. Let's say your requirement is you want to actually traverse in the reverse order. So how do I do it? Let's say this is actually the traversal using for loop. Let's say I want to do traverse using negative index. Traverse using negative index. So now to traverse using negative index, what I can do is we should actually start with -1 till what? Till minus of length of mesh is -1, because if the length is 10, we need actually -1 to -10. But in range, it will just stop before that. Let's say range of 10 I'm giving, it is 0 to 9. So whenever I'm actually using a length here, it is not going to give, let's say for in this case, if my message is actually hello world, and reverse order, if I'm giving like a leg, it is going to print till E. Let us do that first, okay? Then we can actually explicitly specify like why I'm specifying -1 over there. Then I'm just giving a step over here, and then here I'm just printing. Let's say here I'm just giving the separator as double greater than, and to differentiate between those outputs, we can for sure like specify a print statement. So now here you go, and while running this program, here you can see it is giving hello world in the character that is using the positive index starting from 0 till the end of the string. But here it is actually giving the starting from the end of the string. If you want to actually specify a space over here for more readability, we can actually do that. Like here you can see it is giving the reverse order. As I said, it is not going to give h because we are not using -1 here. If I'm giving -1 here, then it is definitely going to print like OLLEH. Okay, so now if I'm running this program, here you can see it is actually giving us the output. So this is like the traversal using positive index, traversal using negative index, traversal using like just a for loop. Okay, you really don't need index to go over it. Then we can definitely traverse using slicing operator. Let's say you are having a string, and in the string, like hello world, my requirement is I want to traverse from position number 5 to 10. Position number 5 to 10. How do we traverse it? So now here I can specify, let's say traverse, partial traversal. We call it as a partial traversal using slice. Okay, using slicing technique or slice operator or anything you can say. Okay, so now how do we do it? Now for ch in, here I can say message of, let's say my requirement is start from 5 and just end at actually 11. Default step is actually 1. So what it is going to do, it is going to traverse from character number 5 to character number 10. Now if I'm giving like ch and specifying a end here, and that end you can specify anything. I'm just giving like the end is maybe a double hyphen or triple hyphen. Okay, in this case I'm just using triple hyphen. Now to differentiate between the outputs between the for loops, so then what I can do is you can actually give a blank statement here, right? So now if I'm running this program, in this case, you can see like it is just giving the world, okay, just giving the world here, like hello world. So we are telling start from 5, end at 11. Why it is giving like now word? Let us try to understand. Hello is actually 5 characters. Then this is here it is the 5, right? But it starts with what? It starts with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 is a space. So it is actually starting from position number 5, that is a space. That's the reason why we are having a space here, okay? Space here. So now, then we are telling like end at 11. So exactly till 10th position, it is actually going to print 11th. That is the maximum range we are actually specifying. The position, the end position we are actually specifying here. Okay, so this is how we can actually deal with the traversal. Let's say my requirement is read alternate characters, like start from 0, then give the position like 0, then 2 I want, then 4 I want. Then how I can actually specify? Okay, like partial traversal, we can actually do it here again. Now print, I can say like the part of the string I want to traverse, just started from 0, there is no end, step is 2. In this case, what we are actually telling, give me the position 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 till the end. Now, let us look at the output. Let us look at the output. Here you can see H, there is no E. Then again we got L, the next L is not there. Then we got like no, then WRLD and all. So this kind of traversal is possible. Let's say, for example, you want every fifth character from a given string, every fifth character from a given string. Then what we can actually give, this first character starts with 0, then every fifth character, that is 5. So in our case, we are having a very small message, but think about a real-time environment. You want to actually construct a like no passphrase, okay, from a given character sequence. Like every fifth character, you want to take it from a file and then construct a passphrase out of it. Then, or every third character from a file or a line, you can actually go ahead, construct a passphrase, dynamic passphrase. We can actually do that. Let's say, for example, in this case, you can actually see the output here. Let's say while running this program, here you can see H hyphen hyphen then D and followed by this. So this is kind of like not traversals, like various kind of traversals we can do. The first traversal is just simply using a for loop. Then the second traversal we can actually use like a positive index. Then third case is actually we are using a negative index. Then the fourth case we are actually using slicing operators like part of the string or every alternate character, every fifth character, every 10th character, to string traversal using the reverse order. Those things are actually possible. Let's say, for example, you want to actually traverse, like using the slice operator, you want to actually traverse the string in the reverse order. Then what you can actually do here is you can definitely use like colon colon minus one. This colon colon minus one concept, we can actually use it in a list, we can use it in a tuple, we can use it in a string as well. We can use it as per our requirement. Okay, so there is no limitation over here. Like if I'm giving like one character in message traversal using slice in the reverse order, in the reverse order of the string. So in the reverse order, it is going to print from the last character till the first character. Let us see. This is the result. Okay. So we need to actually specify a print to understand what is the difference between the last for loop and then the last but one for loop. Okay, so now running in the program again, here you can see it is still printing the hello world in the reverse order. So these are various kind of traversal. So it is possible to traverse using a while loop too. Let me write the same program using a while loop. One example I can actually give you, and then you can actually understand like how to traverse a string using while loop. Let's say string traversal using while. Okay, so now look at here, this is my string. Here I can say let me get the length, like length equals to I'm just giving you we can do it like many ways. So let us see, or we can directly do one thing. Directly what we can do here is we can initialize I value as 0, then while I less than equals to length of message. If I value is actually length of message, then go ahead, print the character. In this case, I'm just giving, in this case, it should be like, message of I, that's it. If I'm giving this, like what is going to happen? It is, in this case, there is a logical error. So the logical error is I value is 0. If I execute this program without incrementing the I value, then it will be like an indefinite loop or infinite loop. It is going to print like H. So now if I'm running this program, here you can see it is printing H. If you're using PyCharm, like there is in the left side, you can see a red color square box. So this is like now stop the execution. You can stop it. Okay. So now if you want to run it, you can actually click here. It is going to actually execute the program, or you can do Control F5 and to run. So now here you can see like when I'm actually traversing this, right, and I should have a condition here like I plus equals to 1. So now what is going to happen here? Control Shift F10. So here you can see hello then world. Okay, so this is how you can actually traverse using while loop. The difference between for loop and while loop, it is quite interesting. In while loop, we are checking the condition when you want to perform certain statements based on the return value of a condition. The condition is always going to return like a boolean value, basically true or false. When the condition is returning true, you want to perform some operations, then go for a while loop. In case of for loop, we are not checking for any condition. We are blindly actually following up with the like the execution. Let's, for example, for loop doesn't check anything. For loop, what for loop wants? Like for loop wants a sequence of values. Okay, sequence basically. String is a sequence of characters. List is a sequence of items. Tuple is a sequence of items. Then in for loop, literally we can actually iterate a tuple, iterate a string, iterate a list, iterate a dictionary, iterate a set. Everything is possible. Okay. So in the while loop also we can actually use that. But when to use while? When your requirement is to like put some condition. When the condition is true and you want to actually do some operations, this is conditional execution. The while loop is actually a conditional execution. For loop doesn't check any conditions. For loop is actually going to do the set of operations. Let's say for example in a real time environment of every month, and like now we are going to get the salary, right? We are expecting the salary sometime on Monday next week. So now when we are actually calculating the salary, definitely it's a for loop. For like EMP ID in list of employee IDs process the salary. So that's a for loop. We are not putting a while loop over there, right? Let's say for example, we want to actually calculate like the bonus for the active employees. In that case we need a condition. Okay, in that case we can actually use a for loop, and inside for loop we can actually check whether the employee ID is active or not. Or else if you are having certain condition, let's say for example where the bonus needs to be calculated, bonus flag is yes, only then go ahead do some operations. If not, don't do anything. So those kind of conditional executions you can actually prefer while loop. Okay, so most of the cases these are the takeaways like of difference between while and for. Uh, we can actually go through various examples in the upcoming sessions to understand when to use a while loop, when to use a for loop, when not to use a while loop, when not to use a for loop, and all. You'll actually get clear once I cover those topics. So now this is all about like the string and how do we define the string and what kind of operations we can actually do on string. So now here I'm just going to tell you one more example like that is known as string formatting. I'll just give you very basic examples on string formatting. Now look at here, new, then Python file over here, and then I'm just giving like string format Python file, and let's say my string one equals to world and string 2 equals to is, string 3 equals to open source, and string 4 equals to hello Subbu. Okay, so now I'm just printing, let's say I'm just printing like this str4 str4 comma, then I'm just printing like in a dot the sentence, and then I'm just printing str str1 comma str2 comma str3. Okay, if I'm printing like this, then what is going to happen? Let us see, let me use the proper formatting so that it will be easy. Yeah, so now this is how we can actually use it. Now here you can see it is printing like hello Subbu, world is open source. Let's say I want to do something different here. Now, what I'm going to do here is I don't actually use this. I don't actually use this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to print something interesting over here. And what I'm going to give here is this is the formatting I'm using. One moment, and I can put a formatting here. Then this is my first value, then followed by dot, second value, third value, fourth value. Okay. Now here I can give a format. In the format, I can actually give the values. I can specify str1, then str2, then str3, then str4. Now here just see like now what will be the result. Here it is also it says actually str3. Where is that? It is str3 and str4. str3 and str4. This active copy paste. So did not happen here. Okay, so now here you can see it is actually printing world is open source. Okay, world is open source, and then if you want like a print over here, let's say I'm just to differentiate like now what's happening here. Now print, I'm just giving it here. Let us see if I'm running this program. Here you can see it is actually giving us hello Subbu, world is open source. Here we are giving like string one is actually hello, sorry, string one is world, string two is, then string three is open source, then string 4 is like hello Subbu. Now, if I want to change the order, the changing the order, like now I can actually execute. Let's say I want string 4, that is string 4 is hello Subbu, and then followed by string 1, 2, and 3. I can actually specify here string 1, string 2, and string 3 here. Okay, so if I'm specifying this, now let us see the result. Let us see the result here. Okay, now here it's saying like hello Subbu, world is open source. This is one kind of formatting. Let's say I do have a print statement. I do have a print statement. Here I can specify, let's say the zero, again the zero value, again the zero value, and then I have, let's say for example, I'm having one value here, zero value here, again I'm just giving like two. Let's say there are actually three values, so there are three values required over here. I'm just giving here the format, giving Subbu is my zero value, then here I'm just giving Dinesh, and here I'm just giving TP. Okay, now look at here. So I'm just passing three values here, TP, Dinesh, and Subbu. Now zero value is Subbu, one value is Dinesh, two value is TP. Now if I'm actually running this program, here you can see the last line, Subbu, Dinesh, Subbu, and TP. Like whenever you need like the same value repeated n number of times, let's say for example, I want to repeat n number of times like this, and then I'm running the program. Now here you can see it is going to print Subbu, 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 and multiple times. You want separator, you can also do that. Okay, so this is like now one kind of formatting. Let's say another kind of formatting also we can actually use. For example, like here I'm having it will look little complex, so don't worry about it. We can actually, we'll do one thing. Once I'm covering like dictionary, I'll just go in depth. So for now, you can see like the string does supports formatting. So in print, I have told you about like separator. I've told you about end. I've told you about plus. Then I told you about file. So this is like known as format. So we can actually positional formatting or key value formatting, we can definitely do it. Okay, there are more examples I'll be covering in the upcoming sessions to understand the formatting. Don't actually overload at this moment. As we move on, we should actually understand like what kind of formattings we can do it on string. Okay, so now we are actually done with the basic concepts of string. What's next is we should understand like how to deal with the string functions. In the string functions, in the real-time example, for example, I'm just taking an input from, let me write one thing, let's say string input, okay, string input, I'm just taking the input from the system. Let's say here I'm just giving like the message equals to input of enter the message. Okay, enter the message. So now I'm just going to read the message. in the message I want to, well, let's say for example, if I am taking the input or enter the name, I'm just giving like no, enter the name, enter the name. Now once I'm getting this, I can actually print like message over here, message over here. Now for example, I'm running this program and giving nothing, it is actually printing nothing. I want to control like if there is no input, then it should actually tell me, hey, the input is null. Then in that case, what I can do, if here I can say if message, print message, else I can say print message is null. Okay, now look at here. Now if I'm running this program and hitting enter, it is saying like no, message is null. If I'm running this program again and just giving like no, Subbu, it is going to print Subbu. Now my second requirement is if message equals to Subbu, if message equals to Subbu or message equals to Subbu in any case, and it should print like hello Subbu. So now here what I can actually do, because Subbu here is in small case, Subbu can be in combination of cases. I can actually enter like S capital, then U, B, B, U again capital, or I can type Subbu in all capital case, or I can type every alternate letter as capital case. Any kind of combination I can use. But my requirement is to verify programmatically if the input is string, I mean the input is definitely string, whether the input value is actually Subbu in any case. When I'm talking about Subbu in any case, how do I tell? Okay, it is in this case, it is 5 characters, I can actually manage it. But if it is like thousands of characters, then how do I do it? It will be becoming very, very difficult. So now to do that, we have actually string functions. Let's say, for example, real time scenarios I'm telling, like we'll be definitely dealing with like to check. Let me write it here like string methods. What are the methods we are actually going to learn? Okay, we can actually definitely convert into lowercase. We can definitely convert it to uppercase. We can convert it to title case. We can actually capitalize, we can capitalize the string. We can also check, there are 30 to 40 string functions are actually there, and we'll go through like now the most useful string functions, maybe around 20-25 functions. We can actually go one at a time. So now the first one I'm just going to tell you is like now dealing with the cases, lowercase, uppercase, title case, and capitalize. Okay. So now how do we do it? How do we do it? Let's say, for example, in this case, before we proceed further, like I'm just going to give you an example here. Let's say message equals to hello, message equals to hello, or anything like some string over here. Now print, if I'm converting like message to all into uppercase, I can actually convert it using message all into uppercase. Let's say message one equals to world, and I want to convert everything to lowercase. So now I can specify message one dot lower. Okay. So now if I'm running this program to see like what it is going to happen, like it is going to, if I'm going to make it as meaningful, I can definitely do this. Now here we go. The result is like hello in capital case, world in small case. Now this is the concept like in a lowercase and uppercase. Now how do we implement these functions in this comparison basically? What I can do here is, if I can specify if message dot lower equals to Subbu in lowercase. Okay, in that time, in this case, I can actually print our requirement was actually hello Subbu, hello, then message, hello, then followed by message. else I want to print hi and guest. Okay, now look at here. I can actually put together here hi guest. Okay, I think because guest is not a variable. So that's it. So now I've used like the message dot clear. Input can be in anything, any case. Okay, but if my input is in Subbu in any case, then it is going to verify, like, if the input is actually Subbu, then it is going to print hello Subbu, else it is going to print hi guest. Now Control Shift F10 to execute the program in Python. I'm just giving like now Subbu here, and it is going to definitely going to print here it is going to the first if block is going to print like no Subbu, it is going to print Subbu here in this case, then it is going to print here like hello, then the message, then hello Subbu. So now if I'm running this program, here you can see Subbu from the first if block, and the separate second if block we are actually getting hello Subbu. You can also do the same thing, you can do the same thing, same comparison using the uppercase too. Either you can convert it to lowercase and compare, or you can convert it to uppercase and compare. Let's say UPP here uppercase, then here you can specify Subbu. Okay, so either convert the message to uppercase, compare it, or convert the lowercase to compare it. Anything is fine. And just mentioning it here for the reference, we can also use upper to convert the message to uppercase and compare. Okay, so now this is what we can actually do, uppercase and lowercase. Okay, so let me run this program. If I'm running this program, if I'm giving here like Subbu, in this case it is actually going to work. But one interesting thing you should know, guys, like if my input contains a space, let's say two spaces followed by Subbu, two spaces followed by Subbu. So now it is going to print hi guest, hi guest. Okay. So now look at here. So it is saying like hi guest, because this space is actually part of the string. There are functions available like to strip the particular character. By default, it is actually going to strip the spaces using strip, while strip, and then in L strip or strip we can definitely specify the characters, like which character we are actually going to strip. Okay, now let's say for example you are having hyphens before the particular string, we can actually do that. So when I'm going to cover the programs right on the strip operations, I'm just going to like give you the example like how to deal with this. But for now, just remember, if space is there, we can actually definitely check like if there are actual space in the string. Okay, so there is a method known as isSpace. In using isSpace, we can actually verify if our input contains any space or not. Okay, so now that's all about like the lowercase and uppercase. Let me tell you something interesting here, that is known as title case and capitalize. Let's say my name, I'm just giving here like Subhasis, and Samantha. Okay, let's say my value is like this, and I want to print the name. I can directly give like print name, and by learning the program, I'll be just getting the string as is. If you want to actually convert it to just lowercase, you can definitely give like lower. And if you want to convert it to uppercase, you can definitely give uppercase here. Definitely give uppercase here. If you want to convert it to title case, let us see like what is title case. Okay, name dot title case. Okay, that is title. And if I want to convert it to name dot capitalize, I can actually do that. Let me run this program. Okay, now Control Shift F10, you can see the result here. Now look at the output. The first one is print, it is going to print as is. The second one is lower, so everything is in lower case. The third one is upper, everything is in upper case. The fourth one, the title case, the first character of each word. Let's say in this case, name contains two words. So name contains two words, so it is going to convert the first character to capital case. Remaining characters of the word to be will be converted to small case. Like in this case, all small case, so that is the reason it has converted to Subhasis. The first character is capital case. Now in the second word, the first character, first 4 5 characters are actually in capital case. But if you are using like a title case, it is actually going to convert only the first letter as capital case. And capitalize, in the capitalize it is little different as compared to title case. What it is going to do, only the first character of the string will be converted to capital case, remaining characters will be actually in small case. So that this is the output. Let's say for example, if you want to, without running the program, you want to actually understand the output at a later point of time, so you can definitely refer this. Let me copy paste it here. Okay, the output, so this is actually going to give us the output, and then the upper and lower, it is actually straightforward. And I'm just going to tell you something interesting as well here. Let's say for example, whenever we are actually going to use the title case, for example, let's say my message is this. Okay, and this is interesting, and this is in case and case basis. As you practice, you can actually understand in depth of these concepts. Okay, hello world. Now if I'm actually converting this to capital case, let's say for example, capitalize, for example capitalizing, not capital case, let's say capitalize. In this case you can actually see h will be like in a capital, remaining characters will be same as like in the small case, whatever is here, right? So you can see hello world. Even if you are actually going to execute print message dot title case. Okay, guys, remember this is also a word separator. So in this case, what it is going to do, it is actually going to print hello, H capital, world, W capital. So now this is the difference, key difference, like, words are separated by space or by comma, okay? So you can actually go for Python documentation, Python 3 documentation, and read more about like, how these methods are actually working in the real time. So this is all about like, the string functions, what I have actually covered so far. So what are the functions, string functions you are actually familiar right now? You are definitely familiar with length, and we have already covered like the input to take the input. This is not a string function, it is actually input operations. So input, then length, you are actually familiar to take the check the length. Then upper to convert any string to uppercase, lower to convert any string to lowercase, capitalize, capitalize to convert the first character of any string to capital case, title case, title case. Here you can convert the each character of the first character of each word is going to be capital case. So these are the various functions, like now, to deal with the case length. Okay, the length, len is for length. We are using it multiple times, and we'll be using it also in tuples. We can use it in dictionaries, set, and everywhere we can actually use the length function. And then all this dealing with cases, these are the functions. So we are good for the day, and tomorrow we are actually going to have the next session, and we'll continue with string operations again.